What is happening? What is happening, peeps? Look, ball, no glasses. No, I no contacts. I just don't have my glasses on. Anyway, peeps, we got a great show for you. We're gonna do a couple. I'm gonna do a couple of videos. Couple of videos here. We're gonna start with this. So, I'm a '90s kid, which means I grew up in the '90s. Really, I'm really probably more of an '80s baby than I am a '90s baby because I was born in. Well, I'm not gonna tell you where I was born, but let's just say this. Uh, I'm gonna show my age. So we're gonna start with something interesting. We're gonna go back in time. This is gonna be a couple of videos detailing. It looks like it's gonna be the '70s, '80s, and then the '90s, and we're gonna basically talk about some things that happened back in the day, peeps. Listen, back in the day, way better than what it is like it is today. Like you kids today, I don't know what the hell's wrong with y'all. Y'all got like mental illness and mental this and mental that. We didn't have that back in the day. We just didn't have that. We didn't have it. But anyways, we're gonna do a couple shows. The first one is gonna be 1970s things that kids no longer do. Shout out to the '70s kids. We're gonna get into this. I'm gonna interrupt because there's gonna be some things that I wasn't born in. I will tell you that I didn't grow up in the '70s, so I'm gonna be interested to see. I did watch a little bit of this, so anyway, let's get into this.
The 70s. It was a decade of muscle cars, bell bottoms, rock and roll, and yes, even a little bit of disco.
Now I will tell you, uh, growing when I was going to school, they were still wearing barrel bottoms. Well, not still, but they was changing to wearing barrel bottoms. Matter of fact, they were flared pants. That's what they call them, flare out pants. So yeah,
Back then, people did things that are now frowned upon.
yeah,
Sure, it was a little dangerous, but it
that shit right there, peeps. That right there, I know y'all looking at that like y'all, dang, what the hell is that? Listen, I've only seen one of those, and it was not at my school, but I did see them, and there's no way in hell I would do that because if it's what I'm thinking, because I know all of these things are different, but if it's what I'm thinking, everybody it was basically one of those swings that you go round and round like you see them doing. They're swinging around, like. But the problem is that all of you had to go around in unison, so it can't just be like one person trying to go around. Otherwise, listen, I'm not gonna even talk about that.
certainly was a lot of fun. In today's video, we'll take a look back.
If you listen, if you don't know what that is, I know y'all are looking at that like, what the heck is that? If you don't know, if you know, you know. I would tell you I've ridden in the back of those. I don't like those cars, by the way. Those are the weirdest cars ever. The weirdest cars
At
ever.
some of the things done in the 70s that are no longer acceptable.
Y'all know what that is.
The 1970s was a time when things were different.
Pam
I'm not
Grier.
just talking about fashion. There were things that we did, and yet here
Heck
we
yeah.
are. For example,
I ain't
kids
saying we
would
did
play
that, but I
outside
have
all
seen
day.
it.
If there was dirt on our hands or faces and we had somewhere important to go, then no problem. We didn't use antibacterial wipes or hand sanitizer. We had something better. Mom spit in a handkerchief, and that was pretty much like 409.
Listen,
Remove
I would say that. I ain't gonna say my mom did that, but some grandmas did.
anything. And speaking of being outside,
Ooh, listen, just finding a bike like those bikes now are available right now. Those things are like $200-300, but back in the day, they was probably like $30-40. Those are some good ass bikes right there. Good ass bikes, and it's actually funny because I said I wanted something similar to that. Those are Swins. I'm pretty sure that those are Swins, but we're not gonna get into that. Let's keep going.
as kids we rode bikes without helmets,
Yep.
bike paths, or adult supervision.
So we did, and even back in my time, we didn't have helmets or anything like that. We literally rode just like that.
There weren't any elbow pads or knee pads either.
Nope.
We just ended up with scarred elbows and knees.
Yep.
It sure was fun, though.
Yep.
Those scabs and
No, it wasn't. Listen, I have. You know what? I'm gonna see something real quick. Oh damn! It's actually healed up like completely, but not so much on my knees. I would show my knees, but I can't really. I'll probably have to. Hey, yeah. It's my right knee. So I have a lot of stuff that happened to my right knee. I don't know what it is, but my right knee loved that damn pavement for some reason. So I have a couple on my right knee. And I had one on my side, but it looks like it's kind of like gone away. And then another thing that I had, which I don't even see no more. Like I really don't see it no more. But I was cooking one time back in the day, and grease splattered, like I think it was on this one right here. I can't see it, but I think it is a reminiscent of it. You can't see it, but I think it was on this one right here where grease splattered, and it scarred me, and it was there for a long time, even in college. That was 20 years ago, so now it's like gone away. So I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't fun, especially your knee hit that pavement. It wasn't fun at all.
and scars were like trophies with great stories to tell about what happened. But kids back then were adventurous. When a kid got seriously injured, people generally felt sorry for their parents.
I've never been in a cast like that, but I do remember some people that were in cast, and we literally would sign it. Again, I wasn't born in the 70s, so I will just tell you that this trend is still relevant even during my time.
They didn't blame them for letting them climb the trees. Safety standards of today weren't anywhere to be seen back then.
So I never climbed a tree. Matter of fact, I don't know nobody that ever climbed a tree. That's like something that white people would do. Don't cancel me either. Not saying obviously it's a black kid doing that, but I don't think I don't know nobody in my neighborhood that did that shit. I'll be honest with you.
There were trampolines, but they didn't have safety nets around them.
Nope.
We actually loved the challenge of danger.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Those springs over here, those springs. I literally, because what happens when you have like multiple people on them. Let me also just point out. Do you see the guys how they're dressed, how the boys are dressed, and how the girls are dressed? Listen, I don't know what the hell happened to that. I do not know what the hell happened to that. Girls used to wear dresses, and now girls wear guy clothes. Boys used to dress just like that. But anyways, what like I was saying, the springs, I actually was jumping, and someone jumped too close to me, which bounced me up too far, and I wasn't ready for it. And I literally, one of my legs landed right there between the springs. And I would tell you, some people got injured because of springs. They, of course, it's a spring, so it expands and it contracts, and sometimes you can get skin. Man, it's like, damn, it's storming outside, but um, sometimes it's like a pinch. So yeah, it was pretty dangerous. And I will tell you, I'm not gonna. Oh no, I'll go back.
Trampolines, but they didn't have safety nets around them. We actually loved the challenge of danger. Remember squirting down the trampoline with water and adding a little bit of palm oil?
So here's the thing: there were some people that had trampolines that actually had like a little covering around the trampoline. Shout out to them. I don't ever recall this shit. This right here is just saying I want to die.
Of dish soap to make it extra slippery? That just meant extra laughs when your friend slid off of the trampoline onto the ground.
Listen, Pete. Listen. Listen. Okay. Now I don't know nothing about that. I've never seen that. I've never heard of that. Who? How? What? But what I will tell you is that we have jumped on the trampoline when it rains, and when it rains, it's already slick anyway when it's dry, but it makes it even more slippery. So the fact that they added soap to that shit, yeah, I bet they did. I bet they did slide right off the damn trampoline. But I would tell you that I have, even though I was really trying to with one person, I've never seen or even heard of anyone jumping on the trampoline and then falling to the ground. Now there have been some people that have slipped, like I said, and fell into the little gaps, or like me, who had one leg through the gap, or some people have been pinched by the springs because they slid, and yeah, it's crazy. But outside of that, I don't know about that.
Heck, even going to camp back then was completely different. Your parents didn't have to fill out 20 forms of paper wanting complete medical history, including all of your allergies, insurance, and waivers in case you got hurt.
Oh wow, I've never been to camp, and it's funny because where I lived and grew up, I don't recall nobody going to a camp. And I've always wanted to go to camp. Hell, Salute Your Shorts. If you've never seen Salute Your Shorts, that's what made me want to go to camp. But we didn't have nothing like that. I mean, I would have had to go like out of town, out of the state to even go to camp, from what I could tell. So I don't know nothing about this. Okay.
School was also much different back in the 70s. For the most part, we went to the closest school and not necessarily the best one.
Yeah.
If we rode the bus,
I would say that's still relevant to today. With the exception, well, I think they did change it a little bit back in the 2010s, where, like, if you live in, like, let's say you live in Dallas, if you wanted to go to the Fort Worth school, you could actually, transfer, go there. So I don't know.
and we acted up, the bus driver would yell at you.
Yep.
The kid actually got in trouble, not the bus driver. We took
Listen, I remember riding the bus, and this was back in the 4th and 5th grade. We had a bus driver. I couldn't stand her. Never got in trouble with her or nothing. I just couldn't stand her because she would always stop the bus because we was talking too loud. Like, nobody was really talking that loud. And we're kids. What the hell you expect? But anyways, she would literally stop the bus, literally pull over, stop. Her name was Miss Joyce. I remember that. Her name was Miss Joyce. She would stop the bus when we was talking too loud and just sit there and tell us on the microphone, if y'all don't stop talking too loud, I'm not moving this bus so y'all stop talking. Well, she wanted us all silent. And if one of us actually started, and we had to be silent for like at least 3 minutes before she would even start the bus back up. There was actually one time I didn't even get back home until about 4:30. I didn't get home. I was supposed to get home at literally at 3:55, 3:50, 3:55. We didn't get home to 4:30 because she wanted to sit there because people wouldn't stop talking. I couldn't stand that crap. But yeah, we used to get in trouble. You usually get in trouble a lot on the bus, to the point where sometimes you couldn't even ride the bus. They kick you off and make you walk.
took our lunches to school in metal lunch pails, and inside could be leftover chicken, bologna, or even tuna.
Ooh, listen. Now I didn't have no metal lunchbox, but I did have some lunchboxes similar that had the little thermos. And let me tell you, that was a bomb. Everybody had those like lunchboxes. Now, like I said, these are metal, so these are a little bit older. But they had lunchboxes a little bit more newer, but they still had the thermos.
Back then, there were no fridges in the classrooms,
Nope.
and there certainly weren't any of those ice blocks to put in your lunch
Nope.
pail.
So you couldn't bring nothing like dairy products and all that. You couldn't bring to school because by the time, I mean, it'd be warm. People, and I think somebody actually made a makeshift ice pack where they would just put a bunch of ice and like a Ziploc bag. They would just put up ice, and by the time they got lunch, by the time lunch hit, the ice was been melted. But it was still, I don't know how they did it. I don't know. I guess it worked because they didn't get sick. But yeah.
Yet for some reason, we didn't get food poisoning.
Mm-mm.
If you had a teacher that was angry all the time, then you just dealt with it. You
Yep.
didn't transfer out of class. You just hoped and prayed that you would have a better one next year.
Yep. Pretty
when
much.
a teacher gave you swats, you certainly didn't run home and tell your parents because we were all afraid that we would get it again.
Listen, y'all don't know about that. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Because y'all don't know about this, peeps.
You just hoped and prayed that you would have a better one next year. When a teacher gave you swats, you certainly didn't run home and tell your parents because we were all afraid that we would get it again.
You hear that? The reason I'm gonna tell you the reason why we have all these school shootings because that's missing. That's missing, Pete. We ain't had no school shootings back in the day. We listen. Even if someone decide, I guarantee. Let me tell you something. If you thought about bringing a gun, you would get swat. Not only would you get swatted twice, but they would take the gun and beat you with it. But yeah, I remember that they used to do that. Now they did that in they not public school, but they did do it in Catholic school. And for those that don't know, I did go to a Catholic school, and no, I'm not Catholic. And that's a story for a different time. But yeah, yeah, that was pretty much accurate. I don't know about public school, but Catholic school, yeah, they swatted you. And something else that they used to do too is we would if you was cussing, if you said a cuss word, how Catholic school works is that they don't paddle you. They wash your mouth out with soap. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. Shout out to Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels. Go check him out on YouTube. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. They literally they told you stick out your tongue. They take that soap and they sit there and do this. And then you had, they use by a sink and they tell you stick your tongue underneath that water. And that was calling washing your mouth out for the bad words. They used to do that. I can name two people that one of them was Damien, and the other guy, I think it was, I don't know which one it was. It was either Jeremiah or Kyle. One of those two had their mouth washed out. I had mine washed out once because I said dang. They thought I said damn, and I said dang. So, and I will say if I did say damn, I didn't know it was a cuss word. So,
For the most part, kids just avoided getting in trouble in the first place.
shit, not
Parents
me.
rarely knew our teacher's name, much less how qualified they were.
I will say that is definitely true. I guarantee you my mom probably didn't know half the teachers I had.
When it came time for the parent-teacher conference, kids got nervous and scared, not the teachers. If you got a bad grade on a test, then you got a talking to and not a cuddle. Back then, if a kid received an award for being Student of the Week, then it meant that they actually did something great. And
That is true. We were not coddled. You had one winner, no participation trophies. If you had an F, I don't know nobody that had Fs in my grade. Nobody that I know. And if you did have an F, it's probably because you wasn't at school. But they did have like perfect attendance, student of the. Did they have student of the week? No, they had student of the month. And then I think that's about it. Perfect attendance. Well, they had the honor roll. So if you had like A's that quarter, you would be on the honor roll. So
instead of just showing up for school. In the 70s, what?
now we did have parent teacher conference. He said people were nervous. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't know. I don't know what they talked about in parent teacher conference because my mom would go and then I would be at home chilling and she would come home and then nothing was said. So I don't know. I know that my mom hated going to those parent teacher conferences. But I will say I remember I want to say fifth grade and above, they made it to where if you had parent teacher conference, you actually had the day off. You had a day off of school. So I kind of like that too. Now that only lasted up until 5th grade, pretty much, and then after that, they didn't have parent-teacher conference in middle school or high school. So
What happened on the playground stayed on the playground. It could be rough, but it could certainly be fun. When you did get injured, a teacher could put mercurochrome on a scraped knee without obtaining parents' permission or completing an incident report.
I think I do remember them putting some bullshit like that. I know they used to put something on our sores.
School field trips were much easier. There was no such thing as a kid-to-parent volunteer ratio. You were just happy to get out of class and you didn't want to do anything to ruin the next trip.
I remember school field trips. I don't know the way he talking. It sounded like you had depending on how many students you had to have two, like a parent. I don't know. All I'm gonna tell you about back in my day when it came to field trips, which a lot of we didn't have a whole lot of them, but the ones that we did have, it was basically the teacher there. So you had the teacher and then 15 of us, and we all went to a field trip. It really wasn't that many though, as far as the field trip was concerned. So I don't know. Do y'all still do field trips out there? You Gen Zers out there? Let me know in the comments if y'all even do field trips. Because I kind of feel like y'all do not, because where the hell you gonna go? Because everything is like digital. So
School breaks were always welcomed, and it wasn't about art class or summer camps. But we did try to blow off steam by getting into some sort of sport on Saturdays. Making the team was always a big deal, and it wasn't always guaranteed. If you didn't make it, then you had to try harder next time or pick a different sport.
I will say that happened back in my time as well. I didn't play sports on I didn't do nothing on the weekends, mainly because my mom was in the military, so she would have drill once a month. I think I at one point. Well, see, it's weird because I wasn't really good in any sports, like really good. So I guess I just never thought about joining. I almost at one point joined the Boy Scouts. I was actually this close, and I was talking to my mom about it, but then after a while, I just got bored. I don't know. I just didn't even feel it no more. So
When you won the big game, you could tell tall tales about how it was done. If you had a great season and you came out on top, then you got a trophy. There were also trophies for second and third place, but not 20th. Not every kid was going to get one, and it was perfectly fine.
yeah.
Family vacations came before kids' sporting schedules, and that's something that seems to be disappearing from today's time.
Huh.
Birthday parties were fun back in the 70s, and they certainly weren't like today's parties with celery and face painting. We had hot dogs, burgers, soda, and of course cake, but there were also other things to challenge you with an element of danger. Remember having your hands tied behind your back, being blindfolded, and trying to eat a donut on a string before others could?
Y'all tried that?
Sometimes this was even done while you were being held upside down.
I don't remember nothing like that. I don't know what the heck. Okay, that's the 70s. Okay.
Sharp things were just part of the fun at parties in the 1970s.
Okay.
We played pin the tail on a donkey with
Pin the tail on the donkey. Oh my God. Listen, I have never played that game. I'm gonna be honest with you. And this game was actually popular even in my time. It was actually more of I don't know if it was more like a cliche or a stereotype for like birthday parties to play pin the tail on the donkey. We used to say that phrase. Oh, what did y'all do? Play pin the tail on the donkey? Yeah, we used to do that, but it was a cliche back in my time.
a sharp tack after being spun in a circle and were completely dizzy. And how about lawn darts?
Okay.
We all played the game.
I remember
and
that.
We didn't think about it being dangerous. And as a 10-year-old boy, it was perfectly fine to receive a pocket knife as a present.
Yeah.
A gift like that could come in really handy and could last a lifetime.
Yeah.
We also didn't worry about germs at parties. Nobody wrote their names on cups, and we all shared them at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
We probably even offered our friend a bite of our own hot dog.
I will say that I know back in my time they did start writing names on the people's cups just because we were kids. We was all about the cooties. Listen, you can't get no cooties in back in school now. Come on. We can't do the cooties.
If somehow we got injured and spilled blood, then there was a good chance that we were going to become blood brothers. This, of course, was long before the AIDS scare of the 1980s.
Hmm. So birthday parties for me. I mean, I had maybe three, and only one successful birthday party. The first birthday party I had, nobody came because it decided to storm. And the only person that came was my best friend because and the only reason why his parents came through the storms is because of the fact that I was going over to his parties. And he actually is the one that suggested me having a party. And I was kind of like, ah. But I'm kind of glad I did because, like I said, he did come over. That was the year that I got my Nintendo. That was the year that I got my Nintendo, peeps. I can't tell you how long it's been Nintendo. Now, he's had Nintendo for, I think, well, since it came out, whenever it came out. But I know the two times that I went over to his place, for his birthday, we would have like a sleepover. All the boys in our classroom would go over to his house and we had a sleepover. He had it, so he's had it for at least 2 years, and then I get one. I didn't even ask for one, by the way. Just to let y'all know, I did not ask for it. The reason why my mom got it for me is because I guess she heard that I was playing Nintendo, and I guess she said something to the fact that she just heard that I was playing it a lot even in the last time. So I was like, oh, okay. But I am glad that he did come over because we didn't know how to hook it up, and he did. So shout out to Blake. His name was Blake. Shout out to him. I don't know what he's doing. I'm sure he's married. I'm sure he's married with a great family. Shout out to him. But yeah, my second birthday, we had a lot of people over. But I ain't gonna lie, I kind of ignored them because I ended up getting Game Boy, which I didn't even know it was even out, and I was fascinated by that thing. And then my third birthday, nobody came because it was Easter weekend, and I sit there and asked everybody if they was gonna come to that party, and they all claimed that yeah they was gonna come, and then none of them came. So after that, I didn't have no more birthday parties.
Weekends were a lot of fun. Saturday mornings were your TV time. Just you, some cartoons, and your favorite sugary cereal. The rest of the day belonged to Dad so he could watch sports, a movie, or even the news later that evening.
Huh?
So now that TV time was over, it was off to your friend's house to ring the doorbell and ask if they could come out to play. Back then,
That's pretty much it. So that's how it was back in the Saturdays. You watch your cartoons, have shit. Listen, let me explain. Let me tell y'all something, cause y'all missing out. Let me tell y'all something. Back in the day, let me tell you Saturday comes, and I kid you not, cause I would usually get smacks. I didn't really do pops. My mom did pops, and the only reason why I would even eat that, I usually would eat that cereal during like the summertime when I had nothing to do. Matter of fact, just to let y'all know, I used to eat cereal like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Listen, but let me tell y'all something. Saturday, and I made sure when we went to the store that I get the best cereal that I was craving. So it was usually Smacks, Frosted Flakes. I did Smacks a lot though. I like Smacks. What was the other cereal? I'm trying to think. Now I did do Lucky Charms. That one I only do like maybe every quarter because it has a different taste. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, cinnamon toast crunch. Oh my gosh, peeps. Cinnamon toast crunch. Come on. I kid you not. Let me tell y'all something. I used to get I used to literally get a bowl. Okay. I pour milk in it halfway. And then I get my cereal and take it into the living room and start watching cartoons. It wouldn't like I know. Listen to peeps. I know y'all like to just go and pour the cereal in and then pour the milk in. Nope. I pour half the bowls with milk. I bring the bowl and the cereal, put it on the floor, sit on the floor, turn it to it was Fox. Pour the cereal, and I would just eat. And if there was milk in there, that cereal went back in there. That was the best thing on Saturday. That was king. And then after that, mom would wake up and after I get done watching cartoons and stuff. Now this is before I had a TV in my room. Then she'll watch what she watches. That usually was about 10:30 to and onward. And then me, I would go off to my cousin them house, see what they're doing. So yeah, that didn't change
Then it was always easy to tell where all the kids were in the neighborhood
because
because
of the
of all the
bikes.
bicycles out front.
Yep.
For the most part, kids could do whatever they wanted as long as they stayed out of their parents' hair. The
Yep.
weekend was
That is true. We literally could do what we want as long as we wasn't breaking the law and stay out of the parents. That is true. That was still true back in my time.
really all about your parents' social lives. It was a perfect time for a sleepover at a friend's house. Then the next weekend, it would be your turn to have your friend over.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't do a lot of sleepovers. I've had people sleep over, but I normally like me and my cousin. I usually would go to my cousin's house to sleep over because it was one he had his brother, and it was just I don't know. It's just more fun when it's just me and him. It's not as fun. I guess I don't know. It was weird. It was just wasn't as fun. But yeah, I would go over there all the time. Bring my Super Nintendo, play some Mario Kart. Literally, we would play Mario Kart all night long. Crazy, and I was undefeated. They couldn't beat me. They was trying so hard to beat me. They sometimes would beat me in like match race, but when it came to battle mode, for some reason they was obsessed with playing battle mode. But they couldn't beat me in battle mode, peeps. I'm just saying. But yeah, yeah, the sleepovers, we didn't have that many kids. It was just me and my cousin. That was it. And as far as people coming to stay the night with me, it was just usually me and my cousin.
Dinner was an important time for the family to sit down together at the table and discuss the day or current events. As soon as it was over, it was time to take out the trash and do the dishes. That was every bit as important as doing your homework.
I ain't gonna lie. So that never happened because it was just me and my mom, and she would do all the dishes because we didn't have a dishwasher, and I did not like washing dishes. I'm just letting you know I did not like washing dishes. I didn't want to take out no trash. I didn't want to do that. I just want to be a kid. I didn't want to do all that stuff. Heck, I don't even want to do that stuff now. Shout out, I'm still looking for a wife. Shout out to you.
Being tired was no excuse to be rude either. Everyone was tired. Going to the grocery store was an experience. Kids
Okay.
rode in grocery carts without seat belts or padded liners.
Woo! I remember, y'all don't know about that. I remember riding. You know, it's funny because I was actually in the third grade and still wanted to sit up in the front like that. But yeah, I remember that. That was fun.
Heck, it was even fun to just have groceries piled up on top of you.
Yep.
It was also fun to ride on the end of the cart as your parents pushed it.
Woo! Come on, peace. Y'all ain't live life until you get to on the end of the cart as your mom pushes you. Oh my God, I remember that back in the day. I remember that. I used to do that a lot. And got in trouble for it, but listen, it was so fun being in the front of the car and then she's pushing you.
The cereal aisle was super colorful and they had some really cool toys and prizes inside.
Oh, you know what? They don't even do that no more. Yes, all the cereals always. You know what? That's another thing. I used to always pick the cereals that had the best toys. I used to pick the cereal based on the best toys they had in them. And again, it was usually Smacks. Smacks had the best toys.
Back then, grocery stores had only one kind of milk. If you wanted skim milk, then you could just be a little weirdo by drinking half a glass or adding ice to it. We certainly didn't have 30 kinds of rice, almond, and soy milk.
Oh,
The
yeah.
choice was easy: milk or no milk. Every grocery store had a good butcher that you got to know well. Most meat packages didn't have a sell-by or use-by date. We depended on our noses and visual inspection to see if it was still okay to use.
I will say that I do remember that. I mean, you could still buy meat and stuff back in the day, but there was usually a butcher, and I don't know, a lot of. I only remember my aunt doing that stuff where she would go to the butcher and tell him that she wants a certain cut of meat. Kind of weird. Do they even do that now? I don't know if they do that now or not.
One thing you absolutely didn't see were kids on iPads or doing the latest TikTok dances. Kids just had to enjoy the experience. This was also true on long trips in the car. No iPads, snacks, or juice boxes needed. You just found ways to entertain yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe you played car bingo, or maybe you pulled out the elastic out of your sock and then popped your little sister or brother.
Listen, I ain't saying that I may or may have not done that, but I didn't have no brothers or nothing. But that sounds bad. I will tell you that I remember when we had moved to Alabama and was traveling back and forth from home to Alabama. It was an 8 hour drive. I know that I used to, what I would do, because I was actually short still. So what I would do is I would get my blanket and my pillow and I would just make a little bit. That whole back seat was my bed. And I just lay down and I used to just daydream. I also listened to music because I also had a Walkman. That might be for another video. Y'all don't probably know nothing about that. But yeah, because she would listen to her music, tape player, and then I would have my Walkman. I would listen to sometimes. And then sometimes I would just be daydreaming and just thinking about stuff.
Oh, look out. They're crying. Here comes Dad's arm. Don't make him stop the car.
That's true.
No matter what, kids always found something to do.
Yep.
If you didn't, then your parents would. Never ever
Yeah, it was usually in the form of chores too.
say that you were bored.
Oh
That
yeah.
meant extra chores.
Yep.
Back then, kids would grab scrap pieces of lumber and materials and then build their own clubhouse. None of them ever came from Amazon or big box stores.
I will say I wish I had something like that. I actually wanted a tree house, but there would have been no place for us to even put a tree house. And then as far as like a little makeshift house, I don't know. I had no place to put it either. I wanted it out in the woods, but unfortunately, it was too woody. If that makes sense. It was just too much out there.
Every year, kids would look
Listen, if you don't know what that is, this is the best book ever for a kid. Listen, I used to get mama, and that thing be thick too. It'd be like this thick. I'm telling you, we used to get this. We used to get this about like August, usually about August, September. And I'm telling you, I would have stuff circled and marked. Oh, this is what I want. This is what I need. Yeah. This is Sears wish book. And what's so funny is that a lot of my toys and stuff wouldn't even come from Sears. It was just things that I knew I wanted.
look through Christmas catalogs and dream about what they wanted.
Yep.
It was always fun to circle everything you liked.
Yep.
Kids didn't get everything that they wanted.
Mm-mm.
If you got one item from your wish list, then you had a really good result.
Yeah. I will say too, my mom would never buy what I wanted, but so this is interesting. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I wanted one time. One time I wanted a refracting telescope. Now it was gonna be like $200. So instead of her buying that for me, and that's all I wanted. I didn't want nothing else, just that. So instead of her buying that for me, she literally would go out. She literally that Christmas spent, I think, almost $600 on other stuff that I didn't really want to need. The logic, I don't get it. And the only reason why I wanted a refracting telescope was because I was actually into the planets and stuff. And she probably didn't know that, but I did tell her that I want that because I want to see the planets and stuff. But
There are literally thousands of things that kids used to do in the 70s but are no longer being done now. Most of those things are either illegal or frowned upon. Was it better or worse? I'm not quite
that beer.
sure, and I'll let you be the judge of that, but
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right this thing right here, best device ever on the playground. I used to actually push people, push this thing around because I was actually the fastest one to make it go as fast as you could. People loved it. And if you was in the center, good luck. Those little two bars right there, that's by the center, you had to hold on to both of them. And that's if your arms were long enough at that time.
I'm really grateful that I got to experience the 70s firsthand. Can you think of anything that we missed or
Ooh, if you don't know what that is, let me tell you something. I've been on monkey bars. They have not been not that little. Nah, baby. And matter of fact, the monkey bars that I remember, the very top was very slick. So you couldn't even that where that girl those two girls are at, you couldn't even get on top of them without falling and slipping. And I think and you know what? Now I think about it, the nuns may have had something to do with that because they didn't want people at the very top. Because I always wonder why is it so always so slippery up there. So now I think about it, I think that's what happened. So, all right, peeps, that was the '70s. Dang, it's pretty much like the decade that I was in. So, all right, peeps, that's it. Let me know how you. Let me know all my '70s babies out there. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Do you remember any of this stuff? And what was your experience? Anyways, I am out of here. Y'all take care. Peace. I'm gone.